Hi again, everybody. Tim Schneider with Aegis Learning, joining you for our ongoing series in dealing with difficult people. As we mentioned in the first and second episodes, there's a four-step process after you kind of learn how to self-manage to dealing with all kinds of difficult folks. Now, that process involves listening, being empathetic, apologizing, and then responding and doing any fixes that are needed. First step along the way is the one that we're going to talk about today, and it's the most important, and that is listening. Now, that sounds really self-obvious, but when you have a difficult human and they're going off, you have got to listen to them within some boundary sets. We'll talk about those boundary sets in just a minute, but you've got to listen to them. That listening process, imagine yourself shaking up a bottle of soda for a minute, or beer, shaking up a bottle of soda or beer for a minute and kind of taking your thumb off of it and some of the fizz gets out and then you put your finger back on it. That's what a lot of people do in dealing with difficult folks. They hear an opening to fix something and they automatically jump in and fix and solve. But boy, that's not what that customer or team member or peer wants. They want complete listening. They need all that fizz to come out of that pop bottle before you can move into any kind of solution set. So the criticality of listening is about uninterrupted listening. You can validate it a little bit by saying or a little bit of a head nod. Don't do that a lot because it looks like you're moving them along, but let them get out all that emotionalism that comes with difficult people. Because again, if you don't let that out, boy, I tell you what, you're not going to have any chance to go back and resolve it. You know, again, this is another one of those situations that y'all know that in your personal life to do that, you know, when somebody needs to vent, you let them vent, let them go. Man, I can tell you what, my wife used to, come back home with stories about things. And I'd try to jump in the middle and solve it and say, you know what, you need to do this and that. And she'd say, you know what, Tim, shut up. All I want you to do is listen. Well, that same concept needs to be taken to these folks that we're dealing with in the workplace. They need to be heard out, all of it, again, within reasonable boundaries. So let's talk about those boundaries for a minute. Just because you're an awesome listener and you're going to listen to the entire stuff until all the emotional fizz is gone, doesn't mean ever you should be abused, yelled at, cursed at, and certainly never remotely threatened. Now, to get out of that, there's a great technique, and I want to share that with you. The technique sounds like this. If you continue to fill in the blank, whatever the behavior is, cursing, yelling, ranting, whatever it is, if you continue to do that, I'm going to have no choice but to end the conversation. If the customer or team member or whoever continues down the path, the magic here is they have made the choice that you have ended the conversation. So the technique really is you give them one warning of that boundary in a very clear, matter-of-fact, not heavy-handed, highly emotional way, but you give them one chance. If they cross over it again, you end the interaction. That becomes highly defensible. And in organizations that use that and are consistent with it, it's a real easy one to explain to customers. It's a real easy one to explain to team members. And it's a real easy one to document too, that you provided that warning and then ended or discontinued that interaction or that phone call. So again, the very first step in the process of dealing with difficult people is complete, uninterrupted, validated listening. Focus on everything, let them get the emotional fizz out, and if you have to, create some boundaries related to cursing and yelling and ranting and things like that. I hope you have a great day, and I hope you're beginning to use these techniques with some of the difficult folks in your working environment.